All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves. I am a clinical account specialist with Perk Integrative Health, and I am joined by Steve Steves, who is our clinical expert. He's a clinical nutritionist and a naturopath, and we're glad you joined us today. Thank you, Steve, for being here. How are you doing?
Doing great. Excited to talk about this topic: brain health, neurotransmitters, epigenetics, all stuff that people can understand and have been hearing about for years. So take us there.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'd like to say real quick for everybody to know, we will be sharing a discount code. It's a coupon code today. We're going to be sharing it after we share about this topic and the products, the Prosper Nutrition supplements that we recommend. So stick around for that. Also, this is our new time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you guys are seeing the recording of this and want to join us live and ask us questions live, we do take questions live if you do join us on YouTube. So it'll be 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday. So that's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern, and that is 8 a.m. Pacific. So wanted to get that out of the way. But again, thank you all for joining us. And we are talking about brain health. Let me pull up this article that we are focusing on today. There we go.
Yes. Scientists unveil detailed cell maps of the human brain and the non-human primate brain.
So they kind of, it's interesting because I like this idea of science studying what God has created. I think a lot of times there are certain things that are done in science to prove a theory rather than trying to just understand how God created things. And I think this is, in one sense, is going to be helpful for us understanding a little bit more about how our brains work.
I agree, Jason. I've known some neurologists through the years. Thinking of a couple of them here, Russell Blaylock, who he's got some great stuff out there. Even he did brain surgery, and then his retirement years, which not retirement, he's still working and doing clinical work and clinical studies on specifically the effect of the environment has on the brain. And then who is that gentleman? I'll think of his name in a minute. David Perlmutter. David Perlmutter is pretty well known out there, and he's got some great stuff on neurological health. He literally does a glutathione injection on a guy that had Parkinson's disease. And you can see this video on YouTube. The guy's walking down the hall and he just shuffles little by little, and they give him a glutathione injection. Well, we can't all take glutathione injections, but we can take the nutritional precursors to allow for your cells to increase glutathione function. And glutathione is a very important molecule in metabolism, and we could probably get to that in another show. But neurological information has been around for a long time. So the mapping of the brain, they don't really reveal a lot in this article, except the one point that was already understood back from genetics and genomics from the, right at the turn of the millennium. And that's posted down there on that first bullet point. It said 3 papers in the collection present the first atlas of the cells in the human adult brain, mapping the transcriptional and, catch the word here, epigenomic landscape of the brain. It's important to understand epigenomics. It's simply the expression within our gene regulation of how the cells are responding to our environmental factors.
Right.
So some of us are...
They go on to say here, the last sentence, the epigenome refers to chemical modifications to cells' DNA and chromosomes that alter the way the cell's genetic information is expressed. But the way they're not necessarily sharing. What you're sharing is that that is influenced by our choices in our environment. So,
Right. Yeah, there's no detail on that. And someone needs to just continually break down what does it take to change our response or our expression. Well, it depends on, it's like if you're under, some of it seems like we're under attack, right? And so if we were under attack as a nation, we are like poor Israel right now. And Lord, we just lift up Israel to you. We ask you, Lord God, as that rich nation in you, Lord, is turning to you more closely. The people are drawing together to fight against evils that have been after them since creation, since Israel was a nation. Lord God, we just thank you for your people that you're watching over in Jesus' name. So in developing, your cells are very protective of themselves. You've got a protective membrane, but the interworkings of the DNA then send out signals that express at the surface through RNA messenger signals what the body's trying to do to the environment, how it's trying to adapt to heavy metals or molds or toxins and or food chemicals that are causing inflammation. And we have a great test that identifies that epigenetic environment response that your cells are having at the immune level and causing inflammation. And that's the number one reason people are going to doctors. They're wanting help for inflammation, for pain that they're having.
right.
And the lymphocyte response assay by ELISA Actin Technologies is the test that we run that identifies these specific markers that we're exposed to, up to 500. I think it's more than 500, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah,
Markers.
512 items right now.
So give the people a rundown of the different categories of those markers.
Yeah. So to testing our immune response, most people are familiar with, food sensitivity testing.
Yes.
There's other things in our environment that our immune system can respond to in a hyperactive negative way or a harmful way. And those things are like environmental chemicals that, maybe we interact with because of going to the gas station and gasoline or things like that. So environmental chemicals is a category. Then there's food additives and preservatives. There's food colorings, toxic metals and minerals. Those are things that we come in contact with in different ways. Molds, and then medications is another thing that can be tested, as well as therapeutic herbs. So a lot of times, there are certain herbs that people may take for their health, but maybe their immune system isn't tolerating it at the time. And then even like therapeutic foods, like healthy foods, sometimes those immune system at that moment is not, the immune system's not going to be responding well to.
That's a good example that you finished with that statement after going through that whole list about coming back to foods. And what is the maximum number of foods that can be tested on the comprehensive panel?
So the maximum number of food items, like the food category itself, is 238, I believe.
Okay. So like you said, a therapeutic food, which for a lot of people, we use different forms of proteins to enhance cell repair, to enhance antibodies and so forth. But people can develop sensitivity to those proteins. I developed a sensitivity to consuming rice protein every day for almost 30 years. And I had to get off of it because my body said, you are just bombarding me, and now I'm reactive to this protein. And there could be a number of reasons that those reactions occur, even though rice is considered the most mild and therapeutic of foods that we can consume. It's the way those foods are grown now, the way they're processed, the way they're genetically modified, the way they're sprayed with herbicides and pesticides. And so they alter some of the protein structures of the natural creation. And so we tend to run into the sensitivity of the environmental factors. So everyone should be doing this test every year, because our risks and the increases of the risk of cancer, the increased risk of autoimmune diseases such as diabetes or fibromyalgia, or uh, Crohn's or even any of the itises that you are
Mm-hmm.
experiencing out there. So that test really is a model of what environmental factors affect the brain and neurotransmission. And I would like to go over to that. And I know there's so much we can continue to cover on the LRA.
Yeah, I was
And
just going to show them an example of the results here. And what it does is that's really helpful is if you're reactive to an item, it'll show you like maybe there's a food item that you'll come in contact with, but sometimes you don't know what other areas that food item might be in or other chemicals in your environment. And so it actually details for you where you might be exposed to those things. It tells you more about that item. You can learn about it and alternatives to what you can do to kind of shift. So that's it's an important thing for people to know is that they have a very practical, very practical result that they can actually put to action in their life right when they get it. It's not just you reacted to this, good luck. It's
yeah,
it's
well, I like
getting
that
yeah.
they also provide the food rotation dietary plan in there
Right.
to
Mm-hmm.
help you get away from those sensitivities. That's a big part of it. Eating rice every day for so many years. It's
Right.
a wonder that rice didn't show up earlier on some of my
Mm-hmm.
earlier tests, but it definitely showed up as a high priority. It just manifests in my last year, and
Mm-hmm.
getting away from that has just amazing differences. Less muscle aches and pains. I thought my
Mm-hmm.
recovery was difficult after workouts, and that's improved. Just immune healing, immune response to the environment, that's better with less allergies, eliminating that, and the other components that were tested. So I'm getting ready next month to do my annual test, and I do it before
Okay.
365 days so I can get the 20% discount from the lab. And it just encourage that for everybody to stay on top of their
Yeah.
immune system, because only your immune system, whether you believe in vaccination or not, you need to believe that God created your body to heal,
Right.
and that the only thing that really defends you, whether you're vaccinated or not, is your immune's response to, as this article is telling us, epigenetic environmental factors. And that's what we want to identify. So let's go
Yeah.
into the
Let me make a one last note. If you guys are wondering where or how to do the test, you can do the test through Nutrition and Health Center. So you go to nutritionandhealthcenter.com and contact the office there. Or you can find your doctor has the ability to set up an account with the lab and order the test. So if you ever want to go that route, if you are not near Nutrition and Health Center and you want to do it that way, you can ask your doctor for that test as well. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. All right. So what were you saying, Steve? What's next?
All right. So if we're going to identify how our brain is responding to our environment, how our emotions are affected by the environment, how even the ways that we think, positive or negatively, are going to be affected by our environment. So let's take a look at the neurotransmitter test that we try to run on every single client that comes through the office. And it's collected with urine. The metabolites of urine are accurate in looking at the neurotransmitter breakdown of the body, and they represent the whole body levels of neurotransmission. So you see the major neurotransmitters here: serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, glutamate, GABA, glycine, histamine, PEA, and then creatinine's down there for kidney and urinary markers. Serotonin would be the most important at the top. If you'll scroll down, Jason, to the third page, it shows in the test the neurotransmitter pathways. So this is where physiology and using food and nourishment is involved in our epigenetic response, our response to the environment. You look at the top of the neurotransmitter pathway chart on the left, you see the word tryptophan. This is the primary food neurotransmitter supporter for serotonin and melatonin. And most people don't get enough tryptophan in their diet. and the cofactors are often depleted that help break it down. So the cofactors are listed in red there. You see P5P, which is a form of vitamin B6, which is in our B12 Max product. So our B12 Max is not just B12 as a sublingual hydroxycobalamin form, and then a folate form of folic acid. But the vitamin B6 that's in there helps with this neurotransmission. So we can't get enough B6. Our body is so busy using it. If you look all over this chart, P5P, which is vitamin B6, is everywhere. It's involved in tryptophan converting to 5-hydroxytryptophan to serotonin. You can see it over where phenylalanine, found in various different types of meats, eggs, and so forth. These amino acids are building blocks of proteins that we get. And many times we don't digest our protein well, or maybe we're not getting enough. Protein coming from the Greek word proteos means of first importance. Why everyone that's tested in the office with an in-body test, we give them a basal metabolic rate result from that test. It tells us how many calories that their muscle tissue is burning at rest during the day. And so based on activity calculations, we determine what's a right fit for them.
All right.
I don't see clients that ever consume adequate amounts of protein unless you get an obsessed bodybuilder athlete that comes in and they have made the protein an obsession in their diet, which then puts too much burden on the kidney. So we show how to balance out the protein with the proper diet in a menu plan, dispersing it throughout the day to get even flow of these neurotransmitter physiological precursors. And then by looking at this report, and I would take your attention down to the middle of the page where you see glutamine as another one of those very important amino acids in so many functions in the body. Skeletal muscle repair and skeletal muscle amino acid content has a high concentration of glutamine, especially the gastrointestinal tract. Back to have an article, I think it's up. No, I put that one down on specific how glutamine affects neurotransmission or our gut repair and the tight junctions to protect us from the environment. So glutamine is literally an immune supportive amino acid because of its work inside the gut to keep those tight junctions healthy so environmental pollutants don't come through the gut. The leaky gut, many of you probably heard of that, it's leaky gut syndrome. So glutamine is a really important component, which we have in our product called Brain Detox. I'm sorry, muscle power.
Muscle power.
Muscle power. So we think of gut muscle, we think of skeletal muscle, and then it's got the B6 in there, a special, even more advanced form called pyridoxal alpha ketoglutarate. A long word for vitamin B6, but it's a form that really helps with this neurotransmission conversion so that your body will regulate adequate amounts of glutamate with GABA. Now, the difference in those is glutamate is excitatory and GABA is inhibitory or calming in nature. So people oftentimes don't have enough GABA because they don't have enough B6 in converting it. And so also there's glutamate in a lot of things. Monosodium glutamate is a chemical that's used in a lot of processed foods to really excite. As we know, it's a neurotransmitter that's excitation. It excites your taste buds. So when you eat something with a lot of glutamate and in monosodium glutamate, you're like, this is an exciting tasting food. I want to come back to this. It really does create a response that you get addicted to when this is in excess. So we had a young girl come in, and we've seen this more than once, but I remember this 18-year-old female who had been diagnosed with seizure disorders, didn't have to get diagnosed. You could see it happening multiple times a week, about 3 times a week. And so we started her off detoxing. We didn't do the test right away. We just wanted to get her diet cleaned up and get her body detoxed. And so we're supporting liver, kidney, intestinal detoxification. A month later, she comes back, and the normal 3 seizures a week had reduced to just 1 she had in the entire month. So she said, I'm healed. And I said, well, being healed means no more seizures. So
Mm.
let's do the neurotransmitter test now that we've cleaned up the body a little bit, and let's see what's going on. And that's when it revealed the high glutamate. And we eventually found it in a seasoning she was using. It was
Mm.
lemons and peppers, a lemon pepper seasoning that had monosodium glutamate. And she
Mm.
put that on everything. She said, I love this seasoning because it really makes stuff exciting the way it tastes. So it's in everything, even when you go to restaurants and ask the restaurant,
Right. Right.
you have MSG, no MSG, no MSG.
Sometimes they don't even know. Like they,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's being sent to them with the processed food. And it acts as a possible preservative because the monosodium glutamate, the sodium molecule, is a preservative, basically. And so you're getting this preservative molecule that also preserves high amounts of glutamate that overexcite. So
Hmm.
you can see the value in looking over the far right. We didn't cover the phenylalanine pathway. Tyrosine is an amino acid that is converted and used for thyroid hormones. And so many people have thyroid hormone dysfunction because of goitrogens in the environment, things that
Hmm.
interfere with iodine metabolism, like bromine in white bread products, fluoridated toothpaste, and chlorine. They
Mm.
bathe in it, and it's just chlorinated everywhere. So it depletes their iodine. But you can see that there's more factors involved here with the P5P, the B6. Iron is involved, BH4, which is an enzyme. And then vitamin D helps in the downstream conversion to dopamine, which is helpful in depression. People that get anxiety, mood disorders can often have low dopamine levels. And then you can see that vitamin C, copper, vitamin B3 involved in the transmission to norepinephrine, and then
Mm.
SAMe, which is a methyl supportive component. And we have methyl donors in the brain detox.
Hmm.
So the brain detox will allow for your body to produce SAMe. And we can't forget right there when you see the word cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone made by your adrenal glands that regulates sleep-wake cycle. It's anti-inflammatory in nature, responds to stress, and it helps the body's buffering systems to control your response to stress. So our stress and energy balance formula helps balance cortisol level. So you can see that biochemistry, though it seems complicated, when you break it down and look at tests like this, you can identify, okay, I need more B6. I need vitamin D. I need to take plenty of ascorbate vitamin C. I need my methyl donors in my brain detox. I need my B12 and my supportive factors there, and my cortisol support with the stress and energy balance formula. Just so much is needed that is so deficient in our modern day diets and depleted, and our body's demands are so much higher now with these environmental factors of, as you listed, Jason, in the
Hmm.
lysa lymphocyte response assay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was really helpful, Steve. I think that a lot of people can really use this information to improve their mental health, and that's a big issue today. And so this is really good. I'm excited for people to see this show. If you're not watching live, we definitely want to give you the opportunity to take advantage of these products and improving your health. If you're wanting to run these tests, you can do it through Nutrition at a Health Center. If you're wanting to order the products, you can do it at prospernutrition.com. We've got our brain bundle, and we've also got these products that Steve mentioned today, the brain detox, the muscle
Muscle
power,
power and stress and energy balance,
stress and energy essential,
and B12
and
max.
B12 max.
I
Just
wanted to comment
down. Yeah.
too on the neurotransmitter test, that whole downstream pathway we just looked at, and it showed cortisol helping the conversion to epinephrine. Well, epinephrine is adrenaline. So this neurotransmitter test doesn't just measure neurotransmitters, it measures hormones that are called, it's basically what we call neurohormones because they have a dual role. It's just so valuable and easy to do. And so what I want to do, and I've never done this before, I want to give anyone who calls and says that they heard from our show here,
yeah,
to give them 10% off of this test if they contact our office, because it's so easy to run this test. It's a urine collection. You do it at home, you send it off to the lab, and then we can even do a video conference call to review the results and talk about the protocols that'll help bring that neurological function back into balance. So many people are wondering about this week, and I'm about to post the video. The guy's name is Doug, and Doug has had sleep disorders since he was, he said junior high school. He used to get up at 2 a.m. and he couldn't get back to sleep. So he'd stay up and study for like 3 hours, and then he'd feel a little fatigued. He may go back to sleep for an hour or two. So he said that I've been doing that 3 days a week for my whole life because I was so neurologically imbalanced. He said, I am regularly sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, every night. He said, I have never felt so good. And I think he's in his 50s. I forget what age, but look for that video. We'll post that on our multiple social media outlets so you can hear his testimony. It's just really a great guy. He's got a good heart, and he's living the dream now. He just feels so much better.
It's good. Well, y'all, you can get 10% off these products and any new Prosper Nutrition product if you use the code 11223 show. That's the date. Today is the date is 11/2/23, and the word show at the end, SHOW. Use that at checkout. You'll get 10% off. And if you guys have any questions, send them to us. We get questions at the office frequently, but we want to let you know that this is an avenue that we can answer your questions as well. General health questions, specific health questions if you want. If you want more privacy, obviously, we can do, have you at Nutrition and Health Center as a client and help you with your health questions there. But a group environment is also a good idea, to kind of help us improve our health. So, we like to share the challenges that we have, and we're not, we don't feel bad about that. But thank you all so much for watching. Yes, Steve, go ahead.
Before we close, it would be exciting to share what we've been discussing over the last week, and we'll probably start at the first of the year. We're not sure exactly. We'll let you know, but we're going to start doing in-office group meetings on Friday afternoon. It will be limited, so you'll have to reserve your spot and get together and just really continue to provide education that you're hungry for. These biochemistry, what seem like mysteries to most. We're here to break them down and help you to understand your body, how fearfully and wonderfully made by God you are, and how you can overcome disease like I have. I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis and had a lot of issues with allergies and inflammation and pain. And God has just shown me a better way, and I'm living it out each day, but it's work, and there's nothing in life that has value to it that you don't have to work for. Nothing comes easy in life. And if it does, you really won't treat it with value anyway. So I'm thankful for the journey, the difficult journey of many, many years of struggling to learn these things, to apply them to living, and to help others along the way. And that's really what it's all about, just laying down our life for others. Thank you, Jason, for doing all you do to keep this supported and keeping the network going and the Prosper Nutrition Show.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. This was great. Thank you all for watching. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And send us your questions in the meantime. Make some comments in the video and take advantage of the special that's going to be good for this weekend. It's 11/2/23 show. It's 11/2/23 show. It's the date today. That's 10% off your Prosper Nutrition order. So hope y'all have a great weekend, and we will